Something big might be brewing in Pittsburgh and the buzz is deafening. This week, wide receiver Lazard was seen arriving at the Pittsburgh Steelers team facility, setting off a firestorm of speculation across the NFL world. Cameras caught him entering the building wearing a subtle black hoodie, sunglasses, and a low cap. Classic move when a player doesn't want to be recognized yet still knows he's about to trend on social media. While no official statement has been released by the Steelers or Lazard's representatives, multiple insiders believe he's there to finalize a 4-year deal that could dramatically shift Pittsburgh's offensive landscape. Lazard, who spent last season with the New York Jets, endured a frustrating year alongside Aaron Rodgers, who went down early with a season-ending injury. With the Jets' offense in shambles and targets limited, Lazard's productivity dipped, but that hasn't diminished his appeal. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches with a massive catch radius and years of experience in clutch situations, Lazard fits the Steelers' gritty mold. And let's be honest, Mike Tomlin loves big, tough, versatile receivers. So is this just a meeting, or is it a prelude to a blockbuster move that could reshape the AFC North power structure? What makes this moment even more intriguing is the Steelers' current depth chart at wide receiver, with George Pickens as the clear WR1 and a group of promising but unproven names behind him. Lazard would immediately offer experience and physicality. But beyond the X and O's, there's a sense that Pittsburgh wants to make a statement. After a string of middling seasons post-Big Ben and with Kenny Pickett still finding his rhythm, this franchise appears hungry for talent, hungry for leadership, hungry to get back to that signature Steelers football, the kind that intimidates and delivers when it matters most. And adding someone like Lazard to the mix could bring both swagger and stability to an offense that at times looked predictable and stagnant last season. Even if Lazard isn't a WR1 in the traditional sense, his ability to win contested catches, block downfield, and deliver in third and short scenarios is gold in a Tomlin-owned system. But let's be clear, this isn't a done deal yet. However, when players are visiting facilities in July, weeks before training camp, it rarely ends in a handshake and a goodbye. Something's definitely up in the Steel City, and fans are already dreaming of a Lazard-Pickens duo terrorizing secondaries. Now let's rewind for a second and ask why Lazard would want to come to Pittsburgh in the first place. After all, he's got history with Rodgers, and the Jets seemed invested in building around that chemistry, even if 2023 was a wash. But reports suggest that Lazard grew frustrated with the Jets' lack of offensive identity, something that couldn't be further from Pittsburgh's DNA. The Steelers know who they are. They're physical, grounded, and disciplined. In a league that often favors flashy offenses, Pittsburgh remains unapologetically old school, and Lazard might find that appealing. He thrives in systems that require toughness over finesse, plus the chance to be a key piece in a rising offense rather than just another name on a crowded depth chart. Could be exactly what he needs to revive his career trajectory. Some sources say Lazard's agent had been quietly shopping him for weeks, seeking a franchise with both quarterback potential and a culture of accountability. That points directly to the Steelers, doesn't it? If the money's right, and all signs suggest Pittsburgh is ready to pay, this could be a perfect marriage of need and opportunity. Financially, this rumored 4-year deal would likely sit in the $4,048 million range. According to early whispers from league sources, that's consistent with the going rate for veteran receivers who aren't elite, but offer high-end role player value. It's also worth noting that Lazard still has the physical tools and durability to outperform that price tag, especially in a system designed to exploit mismatches. Pittsburgh has historically been conservative, with free agent wide receivers preferring to draft and develop talent. But this could be one of those rare moves where they reach out for experience, especially with so many young receivers still learning the ropes. And let's not forget, with Diontae Johnson gone and Calvin Austin still proving himself, the Steelers need someone who can contribute immediately and consistently. Lazard's experience in high-pressure situations, from playoff games with the Packers to the turbulent Jets media spotlight, makes him mentally tough enough to thrive in Pittsburgh. If the deal does go through, this might be one of the most quietly brilliant moves of the offseason, giving Pickett a steady target and the locker room a respected veteran voice. Fans outside the Steelers circle might scoff at this potential signing, pointing to Lazard's mediocre 2023 stats, but context is everything. In an offense run by 3 different quarterbacks and minimal continuity, Lazard was more often a decoy than a weapon. Still, his route running, blocking, and red zone presence didn't disappear. In fact, some film analysts argue that Lazard created Separation more often than he was targeted, a byproduct of poor quarterback play. In Pittsburgh, with a more balanced attack and clearer roles, we could see a revival, or even an elevation, of his game. The Steelers don't need Lazard to be a superstar. They need him to be reliable, physical, and consistent. That's where his true value lies. Tomlin doesn't ask players to be flashy, he asks them to do their job, and Allen Lazard has shown throughout his career that he's willing to do the dirty work. That alone could make him a fan favorite in a blue-collar city that appreciates grit over glamour. Could this be the move that helps unlock the next chapter of the Steelers' offense? The pieces are starting to fall into place. There's also a leadership component to consider here. Lazard, now entering his 7th NFL season, has been part of playoff runs, locker room turnarounds, and media frenzies. He knows what it takes to win and what it feels like to fall short. The Steelers' locker room is filled with young talent, but light on seasoned offensive leaders, especially with the departure of veterans like Johnson. Lazard could offer that veteran guidance without stepping on anyone's toes. He's not the kind of personality that demands the spotlight, but he commands respect through action. That's the exact type of presence a developing quarterback like Pickett could use, someone who's seen defenses shift mid-play, who knows how to improvise on the fly, and who can be a calm presence in the huddle. In a year where Pittsburgh is clearly hoping to contend in a tough AFC North, adding experience in key positions could be the difference between 98 and 116. It's still a rumor, sure, but if Lazard is at the facility, things are very real. You don't just show up to say hi, not in July, not this close to camp. Where there's smoke, there's usually a 4-year deal being printed. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Some fans are already dreaming up jersey mock-ups with Lazard in black and gold, while others are cautiously optimistic, wanting to see contract numbers and role clarity first, and honestly, that's fair. Steelers Nation has seen enough off-season buzz that fizzled into mid-season disappointment. But this feels different. This isn't a desperation signing, it feels calculated. If Tomlin gives it the green light, it's because Lazard checks all the boxes: smart, tough, professional, and team first. The buzz inside Pittsburgh sports media is growing louder by the hour, and if this deal is announced in the coming days, don't be surprised. There's also the possibility that Lazard's visit is being used as leverage in negotiations elsewhere, but if that were the case, we likely wouldn't have seen him in the building at all. Something about this feels more solid, more genuine. And with training camp on the horizon, the timing makes perfect sense. Teams want their new pieces in place before the pads go on. Could Lazard be the final puzzle piece in what the Steelers believe could be a playoff-caliber offense? It sure sounds like it. There's even a theory floating around that this deal has been quietly in the works for weeks, with today's visit being more of a final check-in than a starting point. That would explain why insiders were surprisingly quick to connect Lazard to the Steelers even before he landed in Pittsburgh. Maybe both sides had mutual interest all along, and now that the timing and cap space aligned, things are finally coming together. It's no secret the Steelers have been restructuring contracts in recent weeks, possibly in anticipation of a notable signing. If Lazard is the target, that cap room would allow for a front-loaded deal that minimizes long-term risk. That's classic Pittsburgh, aggressive but smart. Meanwhile, Lazard might see this as a golden opportunity to extend his career in a system that fits him like a glove. With the AFC North loaded with talent at wide receiver, think Chase, Cooper, Bateman, Pittsburgh can't afford to fall behind. Lazard isn't a luxury signing. He's a strategic answer to a division that demands size, strength, and savvy on every down. If this becomes official, expect a ripple effect across the AFC. Even the mood around Steelers practice this week seemed different, according to reporters on the ground. There's a quiet confidence, a sense that something or someone is about to elevate this team. Lazard, for all his career ups and downs, carries a reputation for professionalism and effort.